Toronto, where the Argonauts welcome their arch rivals to town. Argo fans hoping their team can carry the momentum from their first win of the season, but Cat faithful have the exact same feeling after watching their team take down the Alouettes last week. It is Friday Night Football on TSN. With a Week 7 return, the best-case scenario for Chad Kelly, Nick Arbuckle continues to lead the Double Blue. Arbuckle coming off a strong performance against the Red Blacks, though, where he completed 5 of 6 deep passes.
Bo Levi Mitchell comes back off of a strong win in their last game against the Montreal Alouettes. Can't be so hard against the Toronto Argonauts, right? Well, I don't know if it's going to be as easy.
An amazing trade last season for the Argos with the Red Blacks for this guy. Andrew Chatfield leads the CFL with 5 sacks. He's got one every game, so I expect him to get one more tonight, Enoch. Great young player.
Well, coming into week number 5, Kenny Lawler leads the CFL with 92 receiving yards per game. Only 27 last week, but that was because Bo Levi Mitchell was getting everyone involved. Tim White had 78. Johnny Augustine, 63. You love to see this if you're a Hamilton Tiger Cat fan, and you love to see it if you're an Argonaut fan, because we love seeing these two teams go against each other at any point in the season. Back alongside Paul LaPolice and Enoch Mwamba, who has been searching for any farm animal he possibly can to race.
Beef, milk, we like them all. Cows, bring them on. I'm going to start going moo every time I see a cow.
I think we're done with the race. All right, we'll get to these guys in just a moment, but first let's bring in our Matthew Shinetti. And Matthew, I'm really appreciating Ryan Dinwiddie this season. He had the most amazing fiery post-game comments, and now he's giving some motivation to the Argonauts tonight.
Yeah, Kate, he's been calling out his team quite a bit over the last little bit, and maybe there's a reason for that urgency, because just yesterday he told me this is a must-win game, which kind of sounds a little weird given the fact that it's July 4th, but maybe that urgency is there because in his time as the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, Ryan Dinwiddie's never started a season 1-4, and one of the things that he's been kind of playing on over and over again is this lack of a run game that the Argos have. They and the Ticats are at the bottom of the league. Kevin Brown is going to start tonight for the Toronto Argonauts, and it was a game-time decision. But Greg Bell is now going to start for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. But I spoke to Bo Levi Mitchell to start the game, and he was very, very calm. You look at his stats, and the number that's going to stick out to you is 7.3. That's the average yards per completion. That's the lowest in his career. But you look at the pass attempts, and you project it out for the rest of the season, Bo Levi Mitchell could be like 726 pass attempts. And I asked him, how do you kind of measure that? The gunslinger that you are, the guy who wants to push the ball downfield to Tim White and Kenny Lawler and Shamar Bridges. And he says, sometimes I have to fight that tendency, but I think this is going to work. Last year, I might see those options, push the ball downfield, and we've seen it. Scott Milanovic doesn't like that. Bo says he wants to stay contained, but Lapo, you mentioned it. Andrew Chatfield Jr. has been wrecking quarterbacks this season. Spoke to him yesterday. He talks about this yard off the ball. He loves it because he gets to see pre-snap and kind of judge guys and get off the ball and really get after the quarterback. Well, tonight, he's going to have an opportunity to do Bo Levi Mitchell. Guys?
Chatfield getting all the love on this show, and rightly so, but let's get back to Bo Levi Mitchell. He has enjoyed his fair share of success against Toronto during his career. He owns a 15-2 all-time record against the Argonauts, while sporting a 31-11 total touchdown to interception ratio during those contests. By the way, just 90 passing yards away from 40K as well. But Lapo, let's get back to those comments that Ryan Dinwiddie had, saying this one is a must-win. It seems a little extreme for week number 5. I know where he's coming from a motivation standpoint, and you certainly don't want to drop to 1-4 on the season, but do you agree for Toronto right now they have to win this one?
No, I mean, I never try to make that statement. You need to win this as a must-win game, because what happens if you lose the game? What are you telling your players after that? And there's a couple of reasons why this is not a must-win. They play each other 3 times this season, so they can lose today, Enoch, and still win the season series. So nobody's established themselves in the East as a second point, so 3 teams got 1 win, so you can easily get to where you need with a home playoff game. And I believe one of the biggest things is Chad Kelly's going to come back to this roster. So when that happens, you would expect their starting quarterback, they can start winning the games they need to put themselves in position to win the playoffs, and that's what you're trying to do. What is important, Enoch, is this is an Eastern opponent, which equals a 4-point game. For fans, that means we get 2 points, Our opponent doesn't get 2 points, so that's a 4-point swing for the winning team.
Absolutely, Coach. And you talk about how important it is for them to win it, and it's not necessarily a must-win, but you look at the fact that this is also like a brand-new team for Ryan Dinwiddie. It's almost like he's a first-year coach on a new team. He didn't have his starting quarterback. He doesn't have like his defense intact the way that it was last year. The whole defensive line went to Edmonton. So you look at this team, how often is it that we see a new coach on a new team, and we give him a little bit of grace? Hey, look, this is his first year with it. This is essentially the situation that Ryan Dinwiddie found himself in at the beginning of this season, and it's still quite early to talk about must-win games, Kate.
All right, so let's talk about must-win for the Hamilton Tiger Cats now. But let's seriously talk about the momentum from this team, because I don't think anyone expected them to roll over the Montreal Alouettes, but they did just that. I mentioned the balance on offense, which was great to see with Bo Levi-Mitchell and his receivers, but also defensively. I mean, they were great in that game. They held Montreal to 38 rushing yards. How do they build off that momentum tonight, Enoch?
I mean, Verasok came in, the young man, and played a huge game, his first start on defense for this team, and they did just enough to win the game against the Montreal Alouettes. Well, I was really impressed, offensively speaking, with Bo Levi-Mitchell, what he did to that offense. Scott Milanovic has a huge say on that, obviously, but the way that he called that game and the patience that they displayed throughout the course of that game was extremely impressive. And this team, the Montreal Alouettes last week that they beat, we know how much they can put pressure on quarterbacks. We know how difficult their defense can be, and Noel Thorpe, the different type of pictures that he shows for quarterbacks. Well, guess what? They had so much patience. They had the ball. They spread the love, and that's going to be the key for them tonight as well. He's going to have to spread the ball, Bo Levi-Mitchell, that is. Last week, Tim White was actually the one with the most targets. It wasn't Kenny Lawler. We know about Kenny Lawler, what he can do, but Tim White did a great job of actually getting the ball and making plays, as well as Shamar Bridges. I'm looking to him as well to step up on that offense.
Yeah, I love seeing Kenny Lawler get opportunities. I think that's going to be really interesting to see him continue to grow in this offense, in this system, and I think the Argos don't provide as many challenges as some of the other teams they face this year in the back end. Now, Devin Verasok, you already mentioned him. That's an amazing draft for the Hamilton Tiger Cats to think about. They take him first overall. What do they need to get better at defensively last year? They said, we need more playmakers on defense. Well, his first start, 8 defensive tackles and a pick 6, 1 special teams tackle. So that's a great start for this organization, trying to say, how do we get better defensively? How do we get more players who can make plays? Devin Verasok, really good to watch. I'm
not kidding you. We've literally dedicated a solid 5 minutes in this show to Devin Verasok, and we're just getting started on it because he has been phenomenal. And the best part was in his first start, his family and friends all in attendance. Lapo, you mentioned these numbers. The best part, though, that pick 6, our Luke Wilson is standing by. He's going to break down his performance next.
Speaking of Windsor! Verasok on cue! Awesome moment for Devin Verasok and the Tiger Cat defense. Devin Verasok, right place, right time.
It was pretty electric. I just the ball happened to spawn right in my hands.
What a way to begin your career in the starting lineup.
I caught it. Next thing you know, I just see open field, so I just took off.
Lift this building up. I couldn't be more excited for Devin.
I love it. This is the happiest I've ever been. Chances are go up and get a guy. Spectacular catch.
Coxie electric as ever. Deep ball. Nearly intercepted. It's caught. Coxie.
Coxie with an unbelievable play.
It's caught. Coming back across the 20. Into the end zone. Damonte Coxie. Toronto has life.
So Damonte Coxie enters tonight's game with the second most total receiving yards in the CFL behind just Keon Hatcher. His 5 catches at 20-plus yards leads the league this season, and his 20.6 yards per reception also stands as the most in the CFL. Recently, our Matthew Shinetti sat down with the star receiver.
It's caught. Coming back across the 20. Into the end zone. Damonte Coxie.
Think about you win a Grey Cup in 22. There's that loss in 23. You win again in 24. What is this team building? Because really the floor with this team is getting to the East final. The ceiling and above that is winning a Grey Cup. So what does consistency look like when the team is that great?
Coming to work every day. You gotta come to show up to work. You can't go in thinking about what you did last year. Pinball said this a lot too. He said, what you did yesterday still impresses you today, then you ain't do nothing today. So, you know, we definitely all excited about, you know, what we did, but now it's time to go do it again.
You're sounding more and more to me like a leader. How has that evolved over the time that you've been in the league?
Playing the game for so long, you know, you start to pick up a lot. You soak in a lot from the older guys that came and left and come and left, and then you realize, you know, it gets to a point where you are the guy that people comes to ask questions to. You always soak up knowledge so that you can give it back.
I'm going to draw a line right to what the role that you play on the field then, because a lot of that is how you are as a receiver. Do you see the parallels between the kind of leader that you have to be in tight moments with guys and the way that you play your game on the field?
Yeah, man, I love it, man. I do. I love it because it's like an adrenaline. You know, it's like the pressure's on, everybody's watching. What you gonna do? And you can roll the fold, and either way it go, whichever one happens, you gotta take that. And that's the beauty of it, because if it go good, it's great, and if it go bad, still great. You know, God gave you an opportunity.
Are you the best clutch receiver in the CFL?
Yes, I believe that. I believe that with all my heart. God gave me that talent, and there's no reason why I feel like I should shy away from that.
Do you even look at some of your catches and be like, how did I do that?
Sometimes I do be like, that was a crazy catch.
Damonte Coxie, touchdown Argos, but my oh my, what a catch.
Those are some tough catches, you know, and that's why I say I put the work in for it, but like in that game and moment, you practice for those moments, but when it happens and once you realize that it happened, it's like, yeah. It didn't happen.
You got a favorite though? You got one that you're like, that only I could make that catch, and that's the best one I've had in my career up here.
I'll say it was the little against Ottawa. I liked it there because one, it was raining. Two, Chad, I kind of knew he was gonna throw it, but I didn't, because I was looking at him like in the corner of my eye, but he wasn't looking at me. And when he threw it, it was just like, how did I even get out of there?
Damonte Coxie back into the fray, cuts back, makes 2 men miss into the end zone. Touchdown Argos.
Terrific effort there after the catch by Damonte Coxie.
I'm with you, Enoch. I thought it would be the Montreal catch.
100%. I was right beside him when he made that catch.
Oh, well, I mean, it's impressive, though, with the weather in Ottawa, but agree to disagree. I guess it's your own catch. You can make up your own rules. We now join our Luke Wilson. And Luke, I think a lot of the Hamilton Tiger Cat fans were scratching their heads when the organization let Kyle Wilson go, a guy who's still at the top of his game. He ends up signing with the Calgary Stampeders. But guess what? The Ticats knew something. They knew they had something special in Devin Verasok. He makes his first career start last week. We were talking about it on the panel, and my goodness, he did not disappoint.
Looking to select
Yeah, Kate, you said it. And, you know, Devin is obviously a Windsor guy. And he's been winning championships his entire life, and he's been doing that at every level. I talked to his Bantam coach, his high school coach. He's won everywhere. He was a great player at the University of Windsor. A lot of hometown pride there. And I'll say it's a tough situation for him because you said it. You trade a veteran guy away, and even though you're drafted high, you really want to prove yourself. And I remember me back in the day, my first game as a rookie, we had 2 tight ends on the roster. I happened to false start in that game, Kate. The next game, we had 3 tight ends on the roster. Now, fortunately, I was able to clean it up a little bit later on, but Devin obviously had the hot start last week. And I think when you go back and you watch what he did, you know, the tackles were one thing, the interception was one thing, but it's not just, you know, the stats. My favorite stat he actually had was he had a special teams tackle. So you go out here and you've got a rookie and you're trying to prove to the boys, like, hey, I belong here. You're trying to prove yourself. This is my first start as a pro ball player, and you come out and it couldn't have gone any better. He led the team in tackles. He obviously had this tremendous play you're watching right now, which was really the biggest play in the game. And then he just immediately becomes accepted as a guy, not only himself, but his teammates, somebody in the locker room that they can rely on. And for a rookie to come in here and have that type of performance, again, especially like you said, after filling in for a guy who's a veteran guy that was traded, it was really unbelievable. And we talked about him being a second pick overall. You know, there's a first pick overall that might be sitting right beside you, Kate, and I'm not sure he started in his rookie year. Now, I have been told that his head coach was a bit aloof, so maybe you can sort that out on the panel. But you got to tip your cap to Devin because he's obviously off to a hot start. I think he's going to have a great night tonight.
We got to go back to those comments for just clear it up. Enoch, would you like to explain, or would you like to talk to your coach who didn't start you?
First of all,
okay, go ahead.
Watch yourself on national TV here, Luke. But second of all, yes, I didn't start my first game, but I did miss the first 9 weeks of my regular season, Coach. You remember that?
Lavo, do you regret it? Do you regret this?
Well, he wasn't ready to play right away. Guys aren't ready to play right away. So we maybe had a little bit better roster at the linebacker position. But he was what he was supposed to be. Some of these younger guys takes a little while. And, you know, this guy's going to go in the Hall of Fame one day. So it was a great pick by me. Aloof or not. Whether it was aloof or not.
First it was the cow, and now you've moved on to Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, let's go to our Anytime TD picks. Who do you got tonight, Enoch?
I'm going to go with Kevin Brown, Kate. Kevin Brown is a guy that I'm looking at tonight, and if he has an impact tonight, if he's able to carry the ball and make some plays tonight, this Argos team has a good chance tonight to play against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
David Unger, for me, I think is going to get a touchdown tonight. He doesn't have a touchdown yet, guys, but Nick Arbuckle really trusts him. Every time I heard Nick talk about it, he's like, this is the guy who's in the right place at the right time. I'm always trying to get opportunities with him. I think he's going to break into that touchdown. He only got 13 catches right now and 0 touchdowns, but I think tonight's the night.
It's very simple for me tonight. It's Tim White. And look, the momentum, obviously, for the Montreal Alouettes
nice
game. And I think, too, if you just watch any game, all the attention is on Kenny Lawler. They got a couple of guys on him consistently, and Tim finally finding his game, and Bo, again, trusting him, which he always has. So I think Tim gets in the end zone, and guess what? If we got this all right, then you at home are going to get it all correct as well. Ooh, we didn't put it together. We just are going to do individual here, but plus 155, plus 135, and plus 170. Ungerer, Kevin Brown, Tim White. We will update it throughout the night and see who wins on the panel. You know who else has won recently? Derek Sluka. What a game for the ages. He became the first player in CFL history to record a 100-plus yard TD return, both on defense and via kickoff return in the exact same game.
My mindset going into this game was like whatever it takes.
Loses the ball, and the Argos have it.
I got an opportunity, and I saw green grass.
The rookie Sluka takes it all the way back.
Find a way to win. We knew special teams was going to have to make an impact.
That's blocked. Rolls into the end zone, and Sluka has it. Sluka!
Well, if there's one person who loves facing the Argonauts, it is Scott Milanovich. A perfect 3-0 record against Toronto as head coach of Hamilton. If his defense plays the way they did against Montreal, he has a glorious chance of moving that record to 4-0. Speaking of the defense here, they held the Alouettes to just 226 net yards, the lowest opponent total since their final game of 2023. The Ticats have conceded a CFL low 1 passing touchdown all season, and also their 5 interceptions are tied for second most in the league. Now, how cool is this? We had our friend Wynton McManus in studio a few weeks back, and he showed us this Argonaut ring. Here's Deshaun Amos getting his ring tonight, and you can tell. I mean, you open up that thing, and it was beautiful. The top comes off, has the stadium in it. You got one of those, eh?
It's a special moment. Yes, definitely, man. Look, this ring, though, is very special.
Your shooter with Deshaun.
All right, Deshaun, I'm still getting used to this. Still getting used to this. You won a Grey Cup with Nick Arbuckle. How do you attack him, though, in a game like this?
You got to be disciplined, man. He has a lot of weapons, so you just got to play discipline, man. Read the quarterback. Do your job. Don't try to do anything extra because he'll find the holes.
Speaking of the color of your jersey, how much does this mean? I know I was talking to you the preseason. You wrote some Argos suck messages on some fans' jerseys. Yeah. Does this mean a little bit more to you and Jamal Peters tonight?
I don't know, man. We just have fun with it, man. I still got some brothers on that side, believe it or not, but I'm embracing being in the black and gold and being on this side of the rivalry. And if I had to say, this side might be a little more fun. So just looking forward to it, man. It's another game. Just blessed to be out here.
Have a great game. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
I am completely with Matthew Shinetti, by the way. I'm still getting used to him being in the black and gold. And it was great, too. The CFL posted on Instagram today the players that have gone on both sides. Zach Collaros, like a really young Zach Collaros for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I forget they had Brandon Banks was on there. Who else? Chad Owens was on there. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but it is interesting because it is like going to the enemy. And look, I know I love the opinions coming up on this particular topic. But, I mean, I was raised with my dad as an Argonaut fan. I'm not saying I'm an Argonaut fan now, but this was a monster game. This was like, no matter where it was, when it was just a big game. This is a rivalry, and these two fan bases absolutely hate each other.
Well, I would say this, I don't see it as a rivalry right now. For me as a coach, early in the season, when you're playing, I know they're rivals, but when you're playing this early in the season, to me as a coach, you're trying to get your players just to win a game. It's the game of the week. There is a rivalry component. For me as a coach, it comes in when Labor Day shows up, right? When you get the Labor Day Classic, you get the Banjo Bowl. That's when I think the rivalry, because why the fans are so fired up for that football game. Enoch, my first time as an Argonaut coach going to Hamilton, we take the bus down there. I get off the bus. There's like a 7-year-old yelling at me, "You stink! You suck!" They're yelling and screaming at me. And I'm like, "Where are your parents?" And then all of a sudden I look and the dad's behind him going, "Yeah, you stink! You're horrible!" And they're all yelling at me. I'm like, "What is going on?" And then next thing you know, "You stink! You stink! You stink!" Pinball walks off. "Hey, Pinball, how are you? What's going on?
You're amazing.
I'm like, oh, good. And then the next guy, "You stink! You stink!"
By the way, was that the exact wordage? You stink?
No.
We don't have the beats ready to go in there, producer Troy?
Yeah, even at PG. But, Coach, you know what? To me, I know playing for the Toronto Argonauts, whenever you play the Hamilton Tiger Cats, it is a big game. And not just necessarily for yourself. We know it's early in the season. But playing against the black and gold is huge and is special whenever you're an Argos fan or player or you work in that building, period. You always want to win every game that you come to play in the pro sports, but you want to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats when you play against them. And that's the same thing on both sides. You come and you play this game, and there's a lot of pressure. And you talk about leading up to the game, everybody talks about it's the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You get patted on the back. Make sure you win this game. This is that game right now. And I want to emphasize the fact too. It's one thing to have played on both teams.
Yes.
Kate, you mentioned those guys, Chad Owens and
Chris Van Zyl is another one off the top of my head. I can keep going here.
But it's another thing when you go the very following year from playing with the Toronto Argonauts, and then you go to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I truly think that Deshaun Amos didn't really say the true feelings how he feels about where
no one says what Lapo's not saying what the fans really said to him. Matthew Shinetti with Tavares Daniels.
Tavares course, I know that irrespective of what time of the year it is, every game feels like a must-win to you. But the way this team has started 1-3, kind of the inconsistency with the offense, what sort of indications are you looking for tonight to see that you guys are moving in the right direction?
I mean, I think the biggest indication is to see that we can do it 2 weeks in a row. I think they're just coming out here, executing on that first drive. I think that sparks the team, and we're going to try to do that and see where it goes from there. But we plan on having a big day.
I know Deshaun Amos just said that he still has some brothers on this side of the field, but that kind of rivalry with this game, nor are there guys that you won a Grey Cup with on the other side that you're going to go going up against in their defense. Does that get your blood boiling?
Oh yeah. I mean, we know what he's going to bring. They know what we're going to bring. It's a rivalry game. You know what to expect. Like I said, we plan on having a good day, though.
Appreciate you, DeMar.
Hey, appreciate you. Go Argos.
Now, do you believe it's a rivalry, Lapo?
It's a rivalry.
It's a rivalry.
Right. And here's what's interesting, Enoch. Your point was really good about back-to-back. When O'Shea left Hamilton to go to the Argonauts, he's still hated by people there, right? People that get all over.
We love you, Osh.
Right. We love you.
Got him where we want him, right where we want him. Got him where we want him, right where we want him. When we roll up to the spot, I bring the game name. Clock's ticking down the shoot, you know it's bang bang. Yeah, we repping for the squad. Yeah, we repping for the squad.